Hi, my name is Ev and welcome to Buddy is in Charge. And today I'm without Buddy, so I'm actually the one who's in charge. And we're going to visit Airfield Estate and also a garden centre. What we're seeing at the moment is the original entrance gate to the estate itself. It's now open to the public and we're going to learn a little bit more about the Overend family and what they got up to. Some really spectacular trees. So Trevor Overend married a lady by the name of Lily Butler, and they have 3 daughters, the second of which passed just before her first birthday. But the other 2 ladies, Letitia and Naomi, lived here, and they kept it as a farm up until quite recently, and we will show you a little bit more. I don't think I can film in the house, I don't want to, so we'll learn a little bit more in here. So they are doing some renovations in the house at the moment. This is January in 2026, but we're going to have a look at the outside of the building. So the Overends bought this estate of 8 acres at the time in 1894, and it was up until the 1990s, the early 1990s, when it was given over to a trust to keep it as an urban farm. So the ladies used to do an awful lot of gardening, and I know there is somewhere a little greenhouse where they had some cacti, I think it is. I'll have to find it now, but that's the back of the house there. And we'll walk along here. So they've tried to replicate as close to as possible as to how the ladies have the gardens. As you can see, it's being January, it's quite dormant at the moment, but believe me, in the springtime it is just absolutely beautiful. Come out through underneath the arch and up into another area. The original Victorian greenhouse was fully restored, and it is to house Airfield's collection of succulents. Both Letitia and Naomi Overend were very keen propagators of exotic plants, with many prizes as members of the National Cactus and Succulent Society. And some of the plants in the collection today were grown by the sisters themselves. So you can't enter it, but it's nice to have a look through the windows. That just shows you how wet it's been. Aren't they extraordinary? So this is the car museum. So we have a pony and trap, which will be the original form of transport. This is Lily Butler Overend's her car called the Flea. It's a Peugeot, and it was bought in 1923 for £230. We have a lawnmower, or a couple of old lawnmowers. Then we have the blue Austin. Magnificent cars. They try and keep these in working order. And then we have the Rolls Royce. And what people don't realise is that this Rolls Royce has a tow bar, because when the family had a Jersey herd here, they needed to have a tow bar on the back of the Rolls so they could bring their prize Jersey cattle to various shows. So you can see pictures on the back. Magnificent cars. The reason why I come here quite a lot is because my own garden is on the same, I suppose, altitude and facing the same direction for wind and for the weather. So I like to have a look around and see what exactly are they growing here. As you can see, the weather is beginning to coming in off the mountains. So we're going to have a wander around here. They have grapevines here, and I have planted grapevines myself as well, just to see how they grow, if they grow. And they also have, what's great is they have a weekly harvest. So this month's harvest: tomatoes, cucumbers, aubergine, kale red, green kale, lettuce, spring onions, rosemary, green sage, coriander, beetroot and chard. So that is what they use, and they have their own little restaurant here as well, and they actually try at their best to use all the produce from these gardens. A little insect box. Some Swiss chard. So some of the fields have got manure spread on them. So we're going to head down this direction. These are the polytunnels. And of course more rhubarb in beds, making my rhubarb look dreadful. And coming down. Here we go. It's a fruit. They start out as flowers and have seeds. There you go. Knowledge is knowing tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. Now there you go. There's a saying for you that's pretty well known. So I'm going to head down here, down towards the farmyard. Again, this is what the ladies, Letitia and Naomi, wanted, which was their land to be given to education for youngsters. And I've noticed a couple of school groups so far. We've had a group of, as I would call it, minus 6-year-olds, minus 7-year-olds, and then also we have had a group of, I suppose, maybe 18 or 19-year-olds as well. So they've obviously come from college or university. An absolutely fantastic little exhibit about soil. What I used for a barn was that I was just in at a soil exploration, and I have to say it was very good and very easily explained for both adults and children. Here we have kind of like mixing of soil and how it works. It's just a fantastic little place to come to, bring your children or come on school visits. I do believe there are meant to be newborn lambs down here, so we're going to have a look at them. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the two sisters. I keep on getting waylaid and sort of find something else so interesting. So Letitia and Naomi followed their mother for many charitable societies. That included St John's Ambulance, and also another place which is nearby, which is now called Laura Lynn Hospice for Children, but it used to be called the Sunshine Home. And the Overends were part of the beginning of that, and they had pledged £5,000 or thereabouts for the building of that. So here's something else now that I have seen, because in my days doing agriculture, one thing I used to love doing was hedging. I absolutely adored it. So here I am again on a completely different tangent, but yeah, it's so wonderful for little ones to learn about animals. And these are some jerseys and a couple of mixes to a jersey herd, and I love cows. Hello sweetheart, hello darling. And that's the reason why I do not eat beef, even though that is exactly what I did when I was doing my agricultural degree, was management of cattle and sheep, but I can't eat either of them now. Hello sweetie, gorgeous, look at that, beautiful. So here at Airfield you can watch the milking of the cattle, or the cows. I'm just thinking back of many a cold morning, wet morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, being down in places like that and milking. I think the most we ever had, or I had to deal with, was 250 cows. But there are of course plenty of more farms out there which are a lot more. There's some piggy wiggies where they're meant to be, outside having their little snort to themselves. So not sure whether I'll go to the Woodland Walk, which is just basically down the side of the field, or I might just go back through the farmyard and go down that track to have a look at the piggy wiggies. Look at that face. Isn't that beautiful? A lovely donkey. Beautiful donkey, aren't you, pet? You're lovely. Some lovely, fairly newborn lambs. A few days old. And their mama, proud mama. They're even younger. For the group, and like my garden, it's waterlogged. So today's little trip was pretty local to me, and it was because it was obviously quite wet, quite cold, and I wasn't going to get Buddy into the car on a day like today. So instead I decided to come here, and I was hoping to do a little bit more about the Overend family, and instead I landed up looking at cattle and sheep and donkeys and piggles. So yeah, it's been a nice little wander. We did have a look at the vegetables as well, see what's growing, which is always good to see, because my garden is on the same elevation and it's on the same aspect, and that's the reason why I come here quite a bit, to see what's in season, what I can grow. Oh, isn't that lovely? Nice to see these little things every so often. And I think that's my problem today, has been, I just said, oh look, there's something different to look at. So that's my exploring mind, and I think it's wonderful at my age to still wonder at various different things and to enjoy it. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to climb what's called the Fairy Mound. That's up near the house. Look at all these catkins. Like, look at them. Isn't that incredible? Going off topic again. So this is the extent of Airfield estate. So we walked all the way at the very bottom there, and we're going over now towards where the farmyard is, the fairy tree, polytunnels in the background, and then we have all the other various different places for food growth, food production. So yeah, so the fairy tree there, it was on the maps in 1837. However, it could be much older. They're talking about maybe 400 years old, or even longer than that. But it's a bad luck to move them or to touch them. That one, there was one storm, I can't remember which one it was. It could have been Storm Emma, and it really took a battering to that. That is because the weather normally comes in from that direction, so it really got hit bad. This is the sunken garden. So a little bit about the ethos of the estate. So it is a social charitable hub, investing in people and initiatives that reach every corner of our community, and it's a non-for-profit estate. Food is everything they do. We're just going down this side path now, and the weather, as you can see, has really come in. It's quite wet now again and cold, so I think I'll be heading home for a bowl of soup. They do have a little restaurant here, which is very nice. However, when I went in, there was a queue for tables, so I thought, no, listen, go home. But they do have a nice restaurant here if you're in the area, and all I can say is thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you again soon, and here's for better weather.